what's up, everybody? It's Gerald from LitTube, and I wanted to take a few minutes today and talk about something that's just been eating me up on the inside, and that's more or less the recent acts of terrorism. Now, terrorism has been around for as long as there's been humans, and since 9/11, terrorist attacks have happened more and more often. But you start to ask, well, how do we stop it? Usually, at least here in the States in America, if a terrorist attack happens with a gun, with a shooter, usually there's a long debate about gun rights. If there's a terrorist attack that happens involving immigrants, we start debating and crying and complaining about immigrants. But no action is ever really taken. And that's the problem. See, we can complain, in front of our TVs for hours and hours and hours and go on Twitter and go on Facebook and change our profile pictures to the flag of whatever country was attacked. But nothing happens. Now, I've studied this. I actually went to college for Homeland Security Management. And like I said, most of my degree was around terrorism, obviously. And even when I went on to study criminal justice, domestic terrorism was one of the learning points that we learned. And I started to put pieces together and realize a lot of these terrorists, they come from these areas that really don't have a lot. You start thinking about Syria, you start thinking about Iraq and Afghanistan and Pakistan, and these economies, they don't have anything. And that's not our fault. No, not at all. But these people, they grow up and, especially since 2002, 2003, they grow up and all they see is attacks. They see violence and they see nowhere to go. So where do they go? They get radicalized. They become a part of I.S.I.S, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, so on and so forth. And then they travel to these other countries and carry their attacks in the name of their skewed sense of reality. Now, how do you stop that is, the key thing. I honestly believe education is the top, way to stop something like that. I don't think you can stop terrorism with guns. I don't think no amount of wars will ever stop it. We've been in a war for over 15 years fighting this war on terrorism with people that would rather blow themselves up than live another day where they live. How do you beat an enemy that would rather blow themselves up than live? You can't kill that, and you cannot defeat that enemy with a gun. Now, this is no disrespect to our military. I love our military. I actually grew up wanting to be in the military. I went to college to work in defense. And I get it. I get that, when an attack happens, our initial reaction is, boom, we got to attack back. But I don't think that's the best way to go about it. I think, of course, yes, we need to be getting these horrible leaders in these countries, these people that have this influence over the people out of power, yes. But we also need to educate them. We need to educate the people that are left behind. We need to empower them to run themselves. Because when you don't, you have the youth that grow up and they are literally war is their life. Dodging bombs is a way of life. Having invading gangs and country, armies is a lifestyle for them. So what do? They fight back. They look for a way out. And sometimes a way out is with a bomb attached to your chest, and it's terrible. Because we're the ones that suffer. 2 attacks happened last week. Actually, over the past 2 weeks, 2 attacks happened. One in London and one in Manchester. And they're just so senseless that, it's not, these attacks don't happen when there's guns firing or, there's an attack. No, these attacks happen when people are just going about their normal life. At the Ariana Grande concert, people are just enjoying music. I'm not the biggest fan of her music, but I can imagine as many concerts as I've been to, I feel a sense of safety at these concerts. Went to the Thrice concert last year. I'm going to Logic's concert later on this year. And every time I go to these concerts, I should feel safe because I'm enjoying my favorite artists. I'm listening to my favorite style of music. And I'm having a good time with my friends or whoever's with me. The last thing in my mind is not thinking that someone has a backpack bomb and is going to blow it up. I'm walking down the street. I don't think in my mind that, oh, some idiot in a car was going to run me down. No. I remember I was 12 years old when 9/11 happened, and I remember watching the TV. I remember thinking in my head, like, how the hell could this happen? How could such a thing take place in America? I mean, I was 12 years old. I didn't understand anything. But then the attacks didn't stop. They kept happening. And they were happening all over the world. And, it's easy to say, oh, I guess in America, if you look on social media, it's easy to say, oh, how poor. Pray for France. Pray for England. Pray for this country. Pray for that country. Let's change our profile pics. And I guess as a coping mechanism, that's all right, because who knows what, in a civilian point of mindset, we don't know what to do. Most people don't know what to do, how to fix this issue. One thing that stuck out to me was I was watching a special actually on immigrants, actually not even immigrants, like natural born citizens that were living in Western Europe that literally were flying to Syria and Iraq and places where ISIS has strongholds. And they were leaving because they felt alienated from their culture. They felt alienated from, not their culture, but from where they were living, in Belgium, in France, in England. They felt ostracized. And you see it in America. It's like a prejudice or racism that happens, and, people run to where they feel most comfortable. And sometimes, sadly, that seems to be ISIS nowadays. They just get so tired of it and sick of it. And that's what my main point was on Twitter. If you were following our Twitter at LitTube channel, I was saying that we only get one world. We're all connected in this together. There's really no way around it than to just look out for each other. It's the reason why the healthcare debate is so important to me, and why me and Justin have taken such a strong stance on it. That, yeah, okay, great. I have a good job that has healthcare. I am privileged and I am grateful. But not everybody has that. And I understand, oh, well, then people are going to raise our taxes, and look at the healthcare in Europe, and blah, blah, blah. I've heard it a million freaking times. There are people that don't have as much as me. There are people that don't have as much as even basic healthcare. I'm not asking for them to have top of the line Blue Cross Blue Shield or top of the line Aetna and be able to go to the most fanciest of doctors. No, I'm not saying it. I'm saying just a basic healthcare that they can live. You shouldn't, being sick shouldn't be a death sentence, number one. We shouldn't go into debt because we're sick. It's all about taking care of people. Before I get too far off the subject, because this could be 2 videos. I feel like a lot of the problem in the world is that we don't love our neighbors. And yes, you're probably sitting at your house right now or on your smartphone wondering, how the hell can I love a guy that wants to blow me up? Well, it could start with loving the guy that hasn't been radicalized yet. You could be just looking beyond yourself for just a moment, just reaching out. And again, this isn't something I feel like, how do I put this in words? When I say this, I don't mean, oh, you should just go out every freaking time and just say, oh, hug everybody, lovey-dovey. No, it's not even that. It's just literally just respecting other people, understanding their cultures. And I understand when you don't know something, it can be scary. It can look scary if, you don't understand what their culture or why they do such a thing, or, this, that, or the other. And I get it. There's no justification or sympathy for radical Islam or any type of radical Christian or radical religion or any type of person that wants to kill people simply based on the simple fact that they don't believe what they believe. But your next door neighbor, the person in the grocery store, your coworkers, just be a little nicer. I think, it's the human condition to just want love. And I think that's the beautiful part about this world that we live in and the internet age is that we can reach out to people. I can talk to all of you. I'm sitting in my house in Baltimore, Maryland. Some guy in England could probably be watching this and get this message. And that's the beautiful part about it. We're no longer, we are multiple different countries, but we also got to realize we are all one human race. One. We only get one Earth. We only get one world. And we only get one human race, and we got to stick together, or else we won't survive. Here at LitTube, we're a multicultural, diverse group of friends. We come from all different walks of life. But the beauty of it is we all have this common realization that we only get one, and that's one world. When I see terrorist attacks like what happened in England, over the last 2 weeks, it breaks my heart because it's, again, an attack on everyday life. These aren't war zones. These aren't, and we go back to the Orlando shooting. Those people were just in the club to have a good time. They felt accepted in their group, and the killer went in there with the mindset that these people were less than human. I've always lived by the rule that no one is better than the other. We have different attributes that may put us in positions of higher power, but no one's better. I think at the end of the day, and at the end of this, pretty much what I'm trying to get to the point is, just be more cautious, yeah. Just wake up. If you see something weird going on, if you see like boxes or anything that doesn't look normal, call the authorities. If you hear about stuff that's happening, call the authorities. But in the meantime, love thy neighbor. Look out for each other. You never know what one act of kindness can do for a person that may be on that edge. So that's all I really got to say. Follow us on Twitter. I do a lot of this talking on Twitter. It's easier to type it out than be on video, but I felt that I really needed to make a video about this, and I really hope that you actually watched the whole video. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube link. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We're all over social media. And just remember, guys, we only get one. We only get one world, one lifetime. Don't fuck it up.